In today's videos, food you shouldn't and shouldn't restrict in a fat loss diet.
By myself.
We're like,
That's
vlog style.
Vlog style.
Pause not. Look at my life.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and why don't you introduce yourself?
Lauren Conlon, owner of Team LocoFit, TeamLocoFit.com. No, I
There we
have
go.
to say it like,
You gotta get excited. You gotta get the people involved.
Hey, the people.
So for any of you who don't know, Lauren and I have a podcast. So I'm gonna link it below. If you're not already listening to our podcast, then I just feel bad for you. You should really be doing that.
It's the best thing I've ever listened to.
Yeah, it's the best thing. We actually just listen to it on a loop after we record them.
Yeah.
Lauren also has a YouTube channel where she puts out a lot of great information. She's one of my best resources when it comes to, coaching and making decisions. And she was obviously one of the first people I went to when I started coaching competitors in the bikini division. So check out her channel below. But today's video is going to be specifically about foods you should and shouldn't eat in a fat loss diet. So I want Lauren to list everything you have to eat to lose fat. Go.
Obviously, tilapia is number one. You should pretty much only eat tilapia.
There's 6 more.
Asparagus.
Yeah.
Is that it? Or is that a round meal plan?
What about oatmeal?
Okay. You can have a quarter cup of oatmeal, but only at breakfast.
What about boiled chicken?
Oh yeah, no seasoning. No seasoning allowed. Obviously, we're kidding. But we say this jokingly because there are a lot of people who do believe that you have to restrict certain foods. Now, invariably, with fat loss, you're going to have less calories. That's the way it works. If you are doing something either for a physique sport or physique related, so you want to have the best body composition, you're going to have reduced calories and high protein, which is going to basically leave you with a little bit less carbs and fats. So when we say there's no restrictions, that by no means means that you can just eat whatever you want.
Absolutely not.
It's just not possible, especially if you're looking to have enough whole food fiber sources, if you're looking to actually be full and have micronutrients in your diet. But we get so many questions, and I still get this, even clients that I've coached for a while, they're like, hey, I know this probably isn't true, but like, I saw this and you just clear it up for me.
Anytime you see a fitness personality put out some information about a waist trainer, about some diet, you can expect your inbox.
Yeah. And a lot of the okay, can I have fruit when I'm dieting? Should I cut out dairy? Should I cut out
That's actually what spawned
sweeteners?
this question.
Yeah. It was a question about dairy. Should you cut that out?
During contest prep, should I cut out dairy and fruit? The answer is no, unless maybe you have an intolerance to dairy, in which you probably shouldn't be having it anyway.
Now, I will say this though, a lot of people think they have dairy issues, and there is a difference between being truly lactose intolerant versus eating a bunch of garbage and you're like, oh, it must be the lactose.
Yeah.
It's not that. If you have a true lactose intolerance, you'll be shitting your brains out if you have the smallest amount of dairy. So if that is you, we would obviously not suggest eating a ton of dairy. If you think that you might be a little bit bloated and you've heard on the internet that cutting out dairy will reduce your bloat, I would say that that's not very founded.
Yeah, I would also almost caution you against just cutting out dairy completely, because your body will adapt to that. You will lose those enzymes over time, and then and dairy's in so much stuff that if you don't even want dairy, you don't even know you're getting it. So if you have no ability to digest it, it could become an issue. You could give yourself an intolerance.
Yeah, no, you really will. So one of the big things that we see when people restrict their food sources too much is that basically the first step is you have certain bacteria, obviously, in your gut. Those bacteria produce enzymes. Those enzymes break down certain foods. So if you limit the food of variety, you're going to now kill off those bacteria, which now means that you will not have the enzymes to digest the food. So then when you've cut it out for a while and you add it back in, you are going to have problems. End of story. There's no way that you're not going to have those issues. So the best way to have a better gut microbiome really is not to cut a bunch of stuff out unless you have all of these problems. So that's, I guess, a totally different video. In general, it's okay to have a wide variety of food, and it's actually a good thing. So there's nothing inherently that you need to cut out besides calories. And usually it's fats and carbs. It's not, you want to keep protein fairly high if you are looking to have a optimal physique.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. A lot of things that go around right now are the discussion between flexible dietings and meal plans. And the big problem I have when this discussion comes up is that there's nowhere that it says if you're a flexible dieter, you can't be on a meal plan. However, if you are on a meal plan, you are not a flexible dieter. So what I mean by that is, if someone gives you a meal plan and says, this is what you eat for the next 12 weeks, there's no flexibility there. You are stuck with those foods, and it's going to create like food issues, like she said, but also psychological issues, possibly giving yourself eating disorder behaviors, versus when you can eat kind of whatever you want within reason and you start to choose foods you enjoy, you create a set meal pattern and a meal plan for yourself, but then can adjust it. If you no longer want egg whites because you're sick of them and you want to swap it out for a turkey, that's fine.
Go for it. Yeah, and it's you have to be reasonable. There's always a pendulum swing of, okay, you should have really, really extreme meal plan or flexible dieting. I'm just, the stereotypical Pop-Tarts and protein shakes. No, that is not the goal. You need to have micronutrients, particularly when you are dieting, because things are just going to be a lot more limited. So you really do want to have high quality food sources no matter when you're dieting, but you can have a variety of them. So don't think that cutting one thing out is going to be, I think people are looking at that as like the bullet answer, and as always with pretty much any video that I have, pretty much any video that Paul has, there's very, very little just direct punch, like this is not gonna work, or you shouldn't do this in this situation. Like there's very few times where I say that. There are instances and with that, but it's not with food variety. So the only thing that I will say with food variety is that it can help to have a little bit less on a week-to-week basis, just based on time, like the time spent meal planning, time spent thinking about food, but don't eat the same things every week. So you go to the store maybe once or twice a week, kind of plan out what you're going to eat in that period, and it's okay to eat the same thing every week, like that week, every day that week. Just because you're thinking less about food, you're prepping it, you're making it, you're just eating it, you're executing. Because that's
taking away the stress and the decision making.
Exactly. But then don't do that for 6 weeks straight, because you're going to have some food issues for a variety of reasons. So eat things that you enjoy. Don't necessarily have restrictions on things like dairy or fruit. Like fruit is amazing. There's lots of micronutrients, whole food fibers that you're going to get in there that you're not going to get with other food. So definitely don't cut fruit out.
Yeah, and the last point I want to make is just that with dieting, the lower your calories get, the less your budget is for being flexible with kind of junk food and treats. The lower your calories get, the lower your body fat gets, the more benefit you're going to get out of whole foods.
Oh, for sure. It's just, you have to think about, okay, I have way less, so now it should be filled with more quality. And really, ultimately, when you boil it down to that, that's usually where most of your food lies, is like the high quality stuff. The reason you've trimmed off some of the extras is just because of the calories that you've been
I just did a video the other day, I don't know if you watched it, I'm sure you didn't, but it was on basically the misleading food labels.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch it.
I got a lot of positive feedback from that, and it's like, I literally had a girl last week send me her food plan, and this is a true life example. I said, take out these 2 food supplements that you're eating. She was trusting a food label, and replace it with one of your, ground beef and rice meals. She literally dropped 2 pounds that week with no technical change to her plan.
No, it's crazy. When I'll do food recalls with clients, and you'll just be like, let me just see what you're doing. Sometimes they look great. Other times it's very, very easy to pinpoint, like, oh, okay, hey, we should not be eating this every day. And it's a lot more obvious in a dieting scenario, especially if somebody's sticking and you're like, hey, let me see what you're doing. Like you're at this weird sticking point and you're like, well, I'm eating this every day. And it's like, well, that's not necessarily as accurate as we think. So when in doubt,
flexible dieting is great, but it can get bastardized to the point where it's no longer benefiting us as athletes or as people trying to lose weight. Whole foods are just going to be the best option almost every situation. The benefit of having more flexibility is that you can eat something in a normal quantity, move on with your life, and you're not having these psychological ramifications. All right, so go check out Lauren's channel. Make sure you check out our podcast for more information, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.